Okay, an example of a question here which doesn't look obviously like an equation question until you start asking yourself, well, what's the key facts we've been given? And first thing we notice is this shape is surrounded by x's around all the sides. So that gives us a clue that we might be creating an equation to help solve what the problem actually is. So when we actually look at what the question wants, it wants us to work out the perimeter. So therefore we recognise that we need to know all the lengths AB, BC and AC and then add them together. That's going to help us to get the perimeter. And they're asking us to give the answer as a number of centimetres. That means that we do need a number then, because at the moment if we added up all these x's, all we'd have is the perimeter in terms of x. It's not actually going to be a number of centimetres. And it hasn't asked us to write it in terms of x. It's asked us to actually give a number. So that means we've got to solve. So again, if we look at a question, it's got loads of x's involved and it's asking us to work something out, then it generally means we're going to have to create an equation to solve. So we need some facts then that will allow us to create an equation from this picture. Well, when we look at the information line by line, it's telling us that angle ABC equals angle BCA. So it's shown on the picture here, those two angles are the same. Well, that tells me that we're dealing with an isosceles triangle. So if we're dealing with an isosceles triangle, then that tells us that this length is equal to this length. So straight away we know that AB is equal to AC. AB has been given as 3x take away 5. AC has been given as 19 take away x. We've got an equation here. That means we can find a value for x, and once we've got a value for x, we can put that back into all the expressions for the sides, and therefore we can work out what the number of centimetres are. So classic solve an equation question, which basically means we've got to get down to x on its own equal to a number. That means we move everything from one side to the other until we get x on one side and numbers on the other. So we're going to add x to both sides first. And the reason why I'm adding x is because I want to keep my x's positive, and we move things from across the equals by doing the opposite operations. So the opposite of take away x is plus x. Add it to both sides to keep the balance going because of the equals there. So our next line is 4x take away 5 equals 19. We're trying to get x on its own because we want to know its value. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. And then we want one of these x's, so we're going to share by 4 because the opposite of timesing by 4 is share, divide by. So x is going to be worth 6 centimetres because we're dealing with units of centimetres. Well, if we know that x is 6, we can now go back round the triangle, writing in all the lengths in terms of the number 6 for x. Well, the bottom of the triangle, the base, had 2x, so 2 6s are 12. The right hand side was 19 take away x, that's 19 take away 6, so that has a length of 13 centimetres. And because it's isosceles, that means that this was also 13 centimetres. Therefore the perimeter is given by adding up all the lengths. So we've got 13 plus 12, which equals 38 centimetres. So our answer here will be 38 centimetres. So just to recap, see a question with loads of x's all over the place and it's asking us to find an answer, then quite often it's about creating an equation to solve. So we look for key facts in the question. This first line here told us that it's an isosceles triangle, therefore we could create an equation to solve it.